Hello and welcome, dear crypto friends, to this latest video. So let's have a look what is happening in the market. Why is Bitcoin falling down? Why are the coins crashing? What is happening? We were promised all-time high in December, so let's dive right into it. Let's start as always with the long-term Bitcoin chart, the weekly chart, and we can see the long-term trend channel here. I have the Bollinger Bands activated and the Stochastic RSI. These are my standard indicators. And what can we see? We see that we have a few red weekly bars, a fourth red weekly bar in a row, and we are just sliding down without any bounce or anything. Why the hell is this happening? Why is Bitcoin not bouncing? Well, I have observed that Bitcoin does not behave anymore like it used to behave in the past. If we look at the old Bitcoin chart before 2018, we see that Bitcoin liked doing insane bounces. This was the behavior back then, which was normal. So Bitcoin dumps, we get an insane bounce. Dump, insane bounce. Dump, insane bounce. Dump, insane bounce. Dump, insane bounce. This was the normal behavior for Bitcoin. And this was also, to a certain extent, still valid in the bull run 2017, right? Dump, bounce, dump, bounce, a dump, a bounce, and so on and so forth. So this was still valid to a certain extent in 2017. Not as extreme as in 2013 and 14 anymore, but still valid. And then in 2018, it started where we had this super weird and strange bottom structure in late 2018. Bitcoin drops, does almost not bounce, goes sideways, and then starts a rally. Like, what? What the hell is happening? Why is Bitcoin doing this? And then afterwards, we didn't have a really strong blow off top in this rally, but it just slided down over long periods of time. Just slide it down, slide it down. This COVID crash was an anomaly, so we shouldn't count that. And then afterwards, when it started rising again, and we had the maximum this year, the first maximum at around 65,000, what happened? It made this weird structure where we didn't have a blow off top, but like this so-called Wyckoff distribution pattern, where like we wobble around at the same price level and then suddenly we start falling down, and then we fall down, and what happens? No bounce, but we just go sideways in this weird movement here, and then suddenly we just start going upwards again. And now we have a very similar behavior, right? So what's happening? Bitcoin is sliding down, and we don't know where the reversal will be because it just keeps sliding down without any bounce. So in an extreme case, let's activate a new indicator to estimate where we could see a reversal. So this is the so-called volume profile, and the volume profile tells us where we have areas of support and resistance based on the trading volume, okay? So based on the past volume, where do people buy a lot or sell a lot? And where do people currently have buy and sell orders? So basically, we see there's a good area of support here at 48,000. This is this peak here. And there's an area of resistance at 57,000. So what could happen now is that we have reached the low. We just go down sideways-ish now from here onwards. And then at some point we go to 57,000. We encounter a small area of resistance, and then we resume our climb towards new all-time highs, which we said will be at the latest in June 2022 based on some calculations which I did before. I include a link to a chart which I did on TradingView explaining in detail why I think that the top will be from late March to June 2022. Okay, so now basically we have established what is happening. Institutional investors start to get in the market in early 2018 or mid 2018, and then Bitcoin changed its behavior. It doesn't do these strong bounces anymore. It does accumulation patterns like Wyckoff accumulation patterns and Wyckoff distribution patterns. And that's why we don't have these strong bounces anymore. That's why Bitcoin is just sliding down, because institutional investors are not day traders. They just accumulate and then they sell over longer periods of time. So we don't have these insane bounces anymore, as in the times when Bitcoin was still dominated by private retail investors, by people like you and me. So that is why we see this new kind of behavior now. And if the support at 48,000 does not hold, we can see the very strong area of support here at 34,000. Now, I know this sounds extreme, like what, we could go down to 34,000. Yes, this would still not invalidate the bullish outlook and the bullish structure. The only thing that would make me worry is if we would go down below this level here. This was the low in June 2021 at 28,700. If we would go down below this structure, I would say, okay, we are going down to the lower end of this channel here, like the long-term channel. It's now at 20,000, and I would say, okay guys, we're going to the lower 20,000s. But if we don't go below this support level here, I think we are absolutely fine. So I could see us sliding down even further to 34,000, then go sideways and then resume the climb. It would be an extreme scenario. I'm not sure if it will happen. I think it's quite likely that we will just continue around this area here, 48,000, and then continue the climb. But I think there's a possibility that this could happen, even more so because like we know that Bitcoin likes to basically make everyone have a bad time. Like Bitcoin likes every market participant to suffer. It doesn't want to give us like easy gains, right? We are in this market because we want to have some nice returns of invest. But if it would be so simple, like everyone would be rich. If it's like, I just buy now and it's super clear, we get all-time high in December and I will cash out in December or January and I'm rich. If it would be so easy, come on. This would be too easy. And remember that plan B and all these models like stock to flow model and all this stuff is now becoming common knowledge. So every newbie entering the market now knows about plan B stock to flow model, and therefore we get new rules. Okay, the rules of the game have changed. It's not the same game anymore as it was a few years ago, and we have to take that into account. We have to take into account that the rules have changed and that Bitcoin has a new behavior now because institutional investors are dominating the market. So I could easily see Bitcoin going down to 34,000. Then we hover around that area for a while and then we resume our climb and we get the all-time high in, as we said, latest early June 2022 at least $200,000. Between 100, I would say between 180,000 and 300,000. Somewhere in that area. So basically we should expect Bitcoin to do something quite unfriendly to us. If we are lucky, we will stay at this level and resume our climb in January. But if we are unlucky, Bitcoin will go down even further to 34,000, then go sideways and then resume the climb. It would fit basically that Bitcoin wants to induce as much suffering onto everyone in the market as possible. I know it sounds brutal. I know it is brutal, but basically that is the psychology of the crypto market, and that's why like over 90% of people fail. This is because the psychology of coins and crypto is extremely insanely hard. You need like a brutal psychology to be able to stand through all these like brutal periods. So let's have a look at other things that are happening and why I think that this rally isn't over and why I think that basically we will resume our climb in 2022 and have all-time highs. First of all, we have the dollar index, right? We know that the dollar index is negatively correlated with Bitcoin. So when the dollar index goes up, Bitcoin goes down and vice versa. This is over long periods of time. Like on short time scales, this isn't always true, but on long time scales, you can watch the very first video on this channel where I explained it. This is normally the case. So what happened now? The dollar index is pumping, right? We had this structure here. It was for a long time in this like megaphone structure, but the dollar just won't back down. It's just pumping, 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 right? It's just going up and up and up. Because like the Fed announced tapering programs and whatnot, and now everyone magically thinks that the dollar is super nice and strong again. And I expect we will get a strong reversal soon because we have been overbought. Like the stochastic RSI of the dollar index is super overbought since like half a year now. And if we look at the history of the dollar index, we see that every time, for example, here, every time the dollar index is doing like a strong rally, the stochastic RSI is on overbought for a long period of time, and then it comes down again, and then we see some dumps. It's every time the case. We can see it here also very nicely. Here is actually the most extreme case. The dollar index was on overbought straight from December 2009 until June 2010. So for 7 months, the dollar index was overbought. And afterwards, we saw that an insane dump came, like really insane, right? It was super crazy. It went really low from 88 to 75, okay? And it did something similar also like in 2008. So we see that the dollar index has this behavior, and this is the longest streak. If we look at the stochastic RSI, 7 months on overbought, this is the longest streak it had basically. And this here, now what's happening here, I would say it's turning out to be the second longest streak where the weekly stochastic RSI is on overbought. So this thing has to come down. It cannot just continue here on overbought. This never happened before, and I think it will not happen now. So what I think will happen now, that basically we will still maybe be around here for a few more weeks, and then it will start falling. And why will it start falling? Well, because the dollar index at some point will start going down again. It cannot just continue to go up and up and up without major corrections. This cannot work. So at the point when the dollar index will start dropping again, this will be exactly the point when our good friend Bitcoin here will start climbing up again, because we said it's inversely correlated. So another reason why I think the market is still continuing to pump is because Ethereum is going berserk. Ethereum is making, with regards to Bitcoin, new local highs. So ETH BTC is already at 0.084, and the all-time high was at 0.15. So Ethereum is continuing to make new highs. It has broken through this nice wedge structure which we identified here once. So it has already broken through the resistance and is continuing to make new highs. This is a strong indicator for me why I think the bull market will continue, and why I think this market isn't over, even though right now it looks pretty ugly, right? Like, oh God, we're just sliding down without any, like, what the hell's going on, without any bounce or something. But this is now the new normal Bitcoin behavior, because it's dominated by institutional investors. So we shouldn't be too surprised that Bitcoin does this kind of stuff. There will be a reversal again, and it will like here come out of nowhere, right? You didn't see it coming. Here it was just sliding down like, oh, what is happening? And then suddenly, pew, it just goes up, right? Out of nowhere. So it will be the same here. Like, if we go down or not, I don't know. If we go down more, I cannot tell you, but basically it will go sideways for a while at a certain level, and then suddenly out of nowhere it will go up. That is my current picture of the market. So it's looking still, I would say it's looking still very good. We don't have to worry about anything. We are still poised for the big rally next year. I'm still maintaining my view that in June 2022 at the latest we will have the Bitcoin top. 1 month later, the latest altcoins like the laggards will top out. So in summer 2022 it will be all over. And of course I will accompany you on this wonderful and crazy roller coaster ride. So friends of cryptocurrencies, thank you for watching. Best of success, best of luck. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any important future updates. And then I would say see you next time.